ఎందుకు వస్తున్నాయి కంట్రోల్ చార్ట్ ఇవన్నీ లైవ్ లోకి వెళ్ళిపోయి
Namaskaram everyone. Welcome back for another session on waves. You're right. We have physics session now. The speaker is very well known to you. You're familiar with Mr. Vasu sir. I request him to continue the session on waves. And today sir is going to explain you about speed of a traveling wave. Vasu sir, as you all know, is a PGT Physics from Telangana Model School and Junior College, Daulatabad, Siddipet district. I welcome Vasu sir to go ahead with his presentation. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, one and all, and a very good morning, dear students, and welcome back to physics webinar session, class 4, waves. Today here, we will learn about the speed of a traveling wave. Once, let me recall the things which we learned in earlier sessions. We started with a walk, what is a wave, and we learned how the wave produces, how it propagates, and the different types of waves and their production and propagation. And slowly we described the displacement of a wave, that when wave is propagating through the medium, how it is to be described with an equation. Then the parameters like parameters related to wave, the different parameters we learned, like amplitude, wavelength, frequency, wave velocity. And in last session, Madam has described the quantitative analysis, that is the mathematical ideas of all the parameters. Now, in today's session, that is in this session, we will learn about the speed of a traveling wave. What is traveling wave? The progressive wave. And speed of a type of progressive wave, that is a transverse wave, with an example with a stretched string, that is speed of transverse wave producing on stretched string, and speed of longitudinal wave, which is nothing but speed of sound in different media, and factors affecting speed of sound, like how simple factors like temperature, pressure, how they affect the speed of the sound while propagating, we shall discuss. What is speed in general? It is the distance traveled by any object in unit time. What is traveling wave? It's nothing but a progressive wave. The wave which produces at one point propagates into the space and never returns to the origin is called progressive wave or traveling wave. Now, as I said, generally the speed can be taken as ratio of distance to the time taken. But while dealing with wave propagation, how the speed is to be expressed in both wave parameters as well as in physical quantities which can be determined experimentally. Let's see. Now let us start with speed of traveling wave. Now let us consider a traveling wave or a progressive wave. That's a wave producing at one point and propagating into the space and never returns to origin. Let's look at this image. For easy and convenient, here we are going to derive this expression by taking a transverse wave into consideration. Consider a transverse wave produces at origin and propagating along positive x direction. As we discussed earlier, to describe the wave, we have to picturize the wave, or in order to picturize the wave, we have to take the picture of a wave at a given instant. When we picturize the wave at a given instant, we get the shape of the wave. Now, this is the shape of the wave, right? Consisting crescent of, and you know how it propagates, we'll learn in detail. To derive or to describe the speed of a traveling wave, we consider the advancement of one of the crust, and you focus and observe the motion of crust of the wave. This is the crust of the wave. Not only the entire crust, for convenient, let us consider a point on the crust. Here I have taken the peak point of the crust, which is denoted by a dot. This is position, this is located at a point on the first wave, shown here as point A at t equals to 0. That is in the beginning. When time lapses, the wave advances as a whole. If I take the picture of the wave after delta t seconds, as this is a point, not the particle. As we know, the particle never advances. If I take the same point at the same position after delta t seconds, it can be seen here, right? So this point advances from A to some other point in a time delta t, that is by covering a distance delta x. Now, that is not only this point, the entire wave pattern shifts towards right, that is along positive x direction. That is, consider the entire wave pattern is seems to be shifting towards the right, that is along positive x direction by a distance delta x in the time delta t. By distance delta x, I'm showing here in a time delta t, and this is shown by a dot here. Therefore, what is the speed of the wave? Simply, the wave is advanced through a distance delta x in delta t, so it can be represented as, it can be described as delta x by delta t. As we know, the speed of the wave is distance by time taken. What is the distance traveled by the wave? Delta x. And what is the time taken by it is delta t. And this is represented by a dot on the shape of the wave. The wave is advancing as a whole, but I have taken a particular point. Now, this particular point is taken at the peak point of the crust, which means what my idea is, I have to take such a point whose phase remains the same. That is, if you take this dot with any other phase, it will move with same speed, because not only this point, even the entire wave moves with the same speed. And if I focus at a particular point, that is the peak point of the crust denoted by dot, whether the point is taken here or here, its face value remains the same. Right? Now, the motion of fixed phase point on the wave is given by, what is the, in equation of a progressive wave, we have seen the phase value is represented by kx minus omega t, or else omega t minus kx. Here, taken for convenient kx minus omega t. As I said, the phase value of this point remains the same whether it is present at here or here. That is, kx minus omega t value must be constant. But while advancing this point through a distance delta x, its both position and time changes. Therefore, The parameters like kx and omega t value changes, but the total phase value remains same. That is, as the time t changes, the position x of the fixed phase point must change so that the phase remains constant. Thus, kx minus omega t, this is the phase value at point A in the beginning, and the phase value at point, the next point if I'll take, it must be k of x plus delta x. Why? The wave is advanced through delta x. Now, if I'll take this distance is x, what should be the next distance? Now, final distance, the distance when the point is taken here, x plus delta x, that is x plus delta x. Similarly, minus of omega into t plus delta t. The time has increased by delta t by the time the wave has advanced delta x. Now, this is the basic idea of changing, basic idea of taking the constant phase for a given point, even when the wave is advancing. That is kx minus omega t equals to k of x plus delta x minus omega into t plus delta t. Now, let us simplify step by step. Kx minus omega t equals to k into x kx, k into delta x minus omega t minus omega delta t. Students, listen carefully and you observe these steps step by step. Now, on either side kx is there, or if I bring kx to this side, kx minus kx becomes 0 minus omega t, here also minus omega t. If I bring minus omega t to left hand side, this becomes plus omega t, anyhow, it will become 0. So, what are the remaining terms? K dx minus omega delta t equals to 0. Next, k dx equals to, if I'll bring minus omega delta t to other side, k dx equals to omega delta t. And what is required? What is the speed of the wave? Delta x by delta t. Therefore, arrange the terms to get delta x by delta t value. Therefore, delta x by delta t value is equals to omega by k. This is the way how you get the speed of the wave. That is v equals to omega by k. Therefore, what is the speed of the wave? V equals to omega by k. We learned already what is omega. Is the angular frequency and k is the propagation constant. We can replace, as we know the value of omega and k, we can replace it directly, or you can simplify it further. If I multiply 2 pi, the numerator, both if numerator and denominator are multiplied with 2 pi, the value doesn't change. So 2 pi omega by 2 pi k. If I rearrange the terms, 2 pi by k, and by bringing the omega to denominator, 2 pi by omega, and on cancelling 2 pi, we get again, what is 2 pi by k? Sorry, 2 pi by k can be expressed as lambda, and 2 pi by omega can be expressed as t, because we know k, propagation constant, is suggested as 2 pi by lambda, and time period is 2 pi by omega, or omega equals to 2 pi by t. So on simplification, you get v equals to lambda by t. We got, so what is the first expression? Omega by k expressed in wave parameters, and v equals to lambda by t. This is also expressed in wave parameters. Next, as v equals to lambda by t, and we know the frequency is the reciprocal of time period. Therefore, 1 by t can be replaced with frequency. So that if I replace 1 by t with frequency, we get another expression, that is v equals to nu lambda, where nu is the frequency and lambda is, as usual, wavelength. This is also expressed in terms of wave parameters. So finally, we described the speed of the wave in 3 ways. Speed of the wave is given by either omega by k, or lambda by t, or nu lambda. What each term indicates, once you recall, omega is right, angular frequency, k is the propagation constant, lambda is the wavelength, t is the time period, nu is the frequency, lambda is the wavelength. So these are the 3 expressions which we use theoretically to determine the speed of a traveling wave. But here, while using these terms, these equations, so already we got 3 expressions to determine the speed of the wave. Once you think Can we use these wave parameters? Can we determine these wave parameters experimentally or practically or in laboratory? As I mentioned, when a wave is propagating through a medium, these wave parameters cannot be determined experimentally. It is easily. Therefore, now we have to describe the speed of the traveling wave or progressing wave in terms of practical quantities, experimental quantities, means the physical quantities which can be determined experimentally in laboratory. So for that, now we take the properties of the medium. As I said, to propagate a mechanical wave, a medium is required, isn't it? Medium is required. Not only medium, the medium has to possess properties like inertia and elasticity. As already I mentioned, while determining the parameters like speed of the wave or energy of the wave, we take these two properties like elasticity and inertia into consideration to determine these parameters. Similarly, therefore, in general, the speed of a mechanical wave is determined by using these two properties. That is, one is inertia. The property of inertia can be taken in terms of linear mass density, simply linear density. What does it mean? Mass per unit length. And it can be taken in terms of even mass density or simply density, mass per unit volume. What is the other property I mentioned? Elastic property. So elastic property, the property of elasticity is to be taken in terms of physical constants like Young's modulus and bulk modulus. Simply, a modulus of elasticity is taken into consideration. That is, the speed of a mechanical wave is determined using the properties like inertia and elasticity properties. Inertia can be expressed in many ways, but here we are going to take the inertial property expressed in terms of linear density or density, depending on the requirement. And elastic property we are going to express in terms of any modulus of elasticity, which decides the elastic nature of the medium. Next, and how the speed depends in the here itself. Let us see how the speed depends on these two properties. This is given based on several experimental investigation, or else even you can understand the speed of a mechanical wave is directly related to the elastic property. That is, when elastic property like modulus of elasticity increases, the speed also increases. And inversely related to the inertial property. That is, when inertial property like linear density or density are increasing, then the speed of the wave decreases. Here you can understand simply elastic property is related to restoring forces. Generally, when restoring force increases, the speed also increases. Or else, in other sense, also we could state if speed increases, the restoring force is said to be more. Similarly, if the inertia of a medium is more, generally the speed decreases. Therefore, speed is inversely related to the inertial property and directly related to the elastic property. Once you look at this is a key point. The speed of a mechanical wave is directly related to elastic property and inversely related to inertial property. So by taking this point into consideration, we are going to derive the expression for the speed of a transverse wave on stretched string. Now let us see. So far what we learned, the speed of a traveling wave or a progressive wave. This traveling wave or progressive wave is of two types we know. One is the transverse wave, the other is the longitudinal wave. So let us discuss about how does the speed of a transverse wave is to be determined. Similarly, how does the speed of longitudinal wave is to be determined in this session in detail. Now let us see how to determine the speed of a transverse wave on stretched string. What is the best example to produce a transverse wave experimentally on a stretched string? What is a stretched string? A string of uniform cross section. A string of uniform cross section is taken and fixed between two rigid supports with some tightness by stretching it so that some tension develops along the length of the string. Right? So On such stretched string, just by plucking the string at any point or by pulling the string at any point, a transverse wave pulse can be produced. Now let us see. As usual, the speed of transverse wave can be determined by inertial property. Here, the linear mass density, or simply a linear density, that's nothing but mass per unit length, is taken into account as inertial property, and restoring force set up in the medium, which in turn can be taken as elastic property. That is, tension in the string, which is related to elastic property. The tension in the string is taken into consideration. Here, the speed of the transverse wave can be determined simply stating linear density and tension by taking linear density and tension into consideration. As I said, as this is, the speed is inversely proportional to the inversely related to the inertial property and directly related to the elastic property of the medium. Students, this can be derived in two ways. One is by using differential analysis and by taking the tension developed on a crust and with the support of differential calculus. But as it is more difficult to understand, and even to make it convenient, for biology students. Now, it is suggested in our syllabus, it is suggested in NCERT syllabus to derive this expression to express this speed of transverse wave on a specific string by dimensional analysis. So, we are going to derive this expression by dimensional analysis. We have studied one of the application of dimensional analysis is to express a physical quantity in terms of known physical quantities or in terms of required physical quantities. Here, we have to express the speed of the transverse wave in terms of like linear mass density and tension. Therefore, let us write the dimensional formula for tension. What is tension? Is nothing but a force. The force acting along the length of the string is called tension. Therefore, what is the dimensional formula for tension, students? T equals to ml to the power of minus 2. And what is linear density? As I said, it is the linear mass per unit length, that is mass of the string by length of the string. Here we are going to consider a stretched string to describe all these things. Therefore, mass of the string by length of the string m by l, that is ml to the power of minus 1. And we need the speed. What is the dimensional formula for speed? L to the power of minus 1. Once look here, the speed of it depends directly proportional, directly related to the elastic property. Here, which term is taken as elastic property? Tension, and inversely related to the linear density, that is mu. Linear density is represented by mu or inversely proportional to mu. Therefore, this is by simple inspection or an experimental investigation, it is found. We get the formula as follows. If I'll take Manjari madam. Okay. Manjari madam. Children, are you looking? Are you hearing? Are you following? Do you follow me? Okay. Shall I continue the simplification work? Okay. If I'll take the ratio of tension and linear density, the tension is ml to the power of minus 2, and linear density ml to the power of minus 1, cancelling m and m and bringing l to the power of minus 1 to numerator, we'll get l squared to the power of minus 2. This can be expressed as E1 L to the power of minus 1 whole square. What is L to the power of minus 1? Is dimensionally equals to speed V. Therefore, it is equals to V square. As V square equals to T by mu, we got. So students, we learned under applications of dimensional analysis, we cannot suggest the V square equals to T by mu directly. While expressing a quantity in terms of dimensional analysis, we always take a proportionality constant. This proportionality constant is to be obtained by experimental investigation. Say, for example, while deriving expression for time period of a simple pendulum, we used to take T is equal under root L by G, proportion equals to a constant into under root L by G. There, the experimental, there based on experimental investigation, the proportionality constant is determined as 2 pi, 2 pi square root of L by G. But here, on experimental investigation, it is found. What is the experimental investigation? How it is to be taken? If I take the value of directly tension and linear density on substituting the value of tension and linear density, whatever value we get for speed of the wave is exactly coinciding. Therefore, the C value is taken as 1. That is, if C is a proportionality constant and if C equals to 1, then the expression can be termed as V equals to under root T by mu. This is the expression to determine the speed of a transverse wave producing along a stretched string, where T is the tension along the string and mu is the linear density, the mass per unit length. That is, the speed of transverse wave is given by square root of tension and square root of ratio of tension and linear density. That is square root of tension by linear density. Let me give a simple application of this. How the speed of transverse wave producing along a stretched string is to be determined experimentally in laboratory. A device called sonometer is available. Or else, if you take a base, rigid base like this, and here a string of uniform cross section. Look here, look at this image. A string of uniform cross section is taken and one end is fixed here. This is called a string vibrator. It can be operated electrically. So if once it is either you can, instead of pulling or plucking the string, by operating the string vibrator by electrical means, a wave pulse, a transverse wave can be produced along the stretched string. Now, how this string can be stretched? The other free end of the string is passed over this frictionless pulley, and with the support of weight hanger, a weight is suspended here. So that depending on the weight suspended, if you suspend weight, what happens? Due to gravity, it pulls the string. So gravitational force acts in vertically downward direction. That is equals to mg. So according to Newton's law, now the same force acts along the length of the string. Therefore, depending on the weight suspended to the free end, the tension can be expressed. Here, in our example, we have suspended, let's consider 2 kilograms is suspended to this free end. Then what is the tension? 2 into G value, if I'll take 9.8, 2 into 9.8, 19.6 Newton, right? And here, the length of the string is mentioned as 2 meter and the mass I mentioned here 0.012 kg or 12 gram. So by taking mass per unit length, dm by dx, or mass is 0.012 by 2 meter, you get 0.006 kg per meter. What is the unit for linear density? Denoted by mu, kg per meter, as it is mass per unit length. So this is the way, even while attempting solving problems, many times the tension is to be determined in terms of weight, and linear density can be determined directly by taking the mass of the string and length of the string into consideration. This is the way how, what I suggested, the idea, the basic idea is we have to determine the speed of the transverse wave in terms of known, or in terms of the quantities which can be determined experimentally or practically. Here it is this application, this example clearly shows that how easily the required terms like tension and linear density can be determined. This is the way how practically or experimentally the speed of a transverse wave can be determined. Now, why the speed of transverse wave is to determine? I'll give you a small clarification. Depending on the speed of transverse wave only, the frequency of the vibrating string changes. Depending on the frequency, we can hear different types of sound. Now we'll discuss in forthcoming session how the frequencies of different frequencies of frequency of a vibrating string can be determined. Listen, I'll give a small application from our day-to-day life. You would have seen musical instruments which are designed by taking strings into consideration, like string type musical instruments. If you take guitar, sitar, veena, violin, in all the cases, by vibrating, by pulling the strings at different points, they used to produce the music of different frequencies. For that, they used to adjust the knobs at the afferents of the string. They used to adjust the knobs. By adjusting the knobs, they used to adjust the tension. Similarly, you also find strings of different thicknesses to provide different linear densities. So all these arrangements are made on a musical instruments like guitar or veena to get sound of different frequencies, to get a sound of different waves, to get sound of different frequencies, which in turn depends on the speed of transverse wave. Is it clear? Next, let's see. Sometime, even to determine the speed of the transverse wave, the terms required tension linear density may not be given directly. So this work is for attempting or for solving problems related to any objective examination like MSET, NEET, JEE Mains. Like how to modify tension linear density and how to express in known terms. Here, due to time constant, I'm taking a simple one of the application. Like this, you can refer many other applications. If time provides, I'll give all other applications in forthcoming sessions. Now let me give a small application. What is mu? M by L, mass by length. Mass can be expressed as volume into density. This is related to string. Because density is equal to mass by volume. Mass can be replaced by volume into density. And what is volume? Area of cross section of the string into length of the string. Volume is equal to simply area into length. A, L, rho by L. L gets cancelled, A rho. That is, the linear density can also be expressed as area of cross section of the string and density of the string. Because now it is more convenient. Instead of, suppose, if a musical instrument is given to you, can you determine the mass of the string practically? For that, you have to remove the string from the device. And we have to determine its length also we have to determine. But instead of that, by using a screw gauge, its area of cross section can be determined. And by knowing the material from which it is made, the density of the material can be taken. So by knowing the cross-sectional area of the string and density of the string, we could determine the linear density of the string. This is the way how linear density can be determined simply. So by replacing the linear density, by expressing the linear density as A rho, we could write the expression V is equal to under root T by mu as T by A rho. Now, as you know, sometimes we know stress. What is the stress here? The longitudinal stress is equals to restoring force. Here, the restoring force is expressed as tension per unit cross-sectional area. Therefore, stress equals to T by A. Stress equals to T by A, where T is equal, already I have taken it as mg, and A equals to pi r square. As I said, by using screw gauge, how cross-section area can be determined by knowing its radius, and by substituting that radius value in this, we get area of cross-section. Anyhow, so these formulas like T is equal to mg, please take the screenshot or snapshot of this page so that how tension and linear density and area of cross section are to be determined in simple expressions we can understand. Now let's come back. If I take T by A as stress, then rho is already mentioned as density, then the speed of the transverse wave can be expressed. It can also be expressed as square root of ratio of stress and density. Simply V equals to under root stress by density. Sometimes while solving problems, they may give stress, or sometimes based on the given values, we have to determine the stress. Now, children, now you can think of how stress is to be expressed in elastic constants like Young's modulus, bulk modulus, and all, so that you get more and more expressions for the same speed of a transverse wave. As I said, and let me give, physics is not so difficult to learn. Where we are lagging is, we are lagging in learning the things in a systematic or in sequential manner. If you try to adapt this method of learning in sequential or systematic manner, then it is easy and very convenient to learn the things in detail. Because now you see how we started the work simply with omega dx by dt. Then we expressed in terms of wave parameters like omega by k and lambda by t and n lambda. Then practical parameters and took a simply t by mu under root is derived and then how it is to be modified. This is the way. It is a sequential learning. There's a systematic learning. If you adapt this method, then this subject becomes so easy and convenient, isn't it? Am I correct? Now, let's see. Now we expressed. Now let's see how to determine the speed of a longitudinal wave. That is a sound wave. So as usual, here I describe the things in a simple manner because already we know the speed of any progressive wave depends on inertial property as well as elastic property. But which property is taken as inertial property and which property is taken as elastic property? Well, regarding sound waves, let us see simply the speed of a longitudinal wave can be determined here. The elastic property, the modulus of elasticity or bulk modulus is taken into consideration. As we know, bulk modulus is the bulk stress by bulk strain. What is bulk stress, students? Change in pressure or delta P. Bulk strain is change in volume by original volume. So delta P by delta V by V. And in place of elastic property, simply mass density, mass per unit length is taken as unit volume is taken as mass density. So by taking a bulk modulus or in general, the modulus of elasticity is taken into consideration and inertial property, in place of inertial property, we take right? So inertial property, mass density, simple density is taken as inertial property and any modulus of elasticity, particularly bulk modulus is taken as an elastic property. Now, let us see dimensionally. Bulk modulus is force per unit, bulk modulus is on simplification, you get ml to the power of -1 to the power of -2. This is the dimensional formula of any modulus of elasticity, bulk modulus of elasticity. Here you can check it. Delta V by V has no dimensions. Only thing that for delta P we have to take. What is delta P? Pressure, force per unit area. I'll take, then you get dimensionally B. And what is density? Mass per unit volume, m by L cube. On simplification, it will be termed as ml to the power of -3. And what is required for a speed? What is the dimensional formula for speed? Lt to the power of -1. Now, as usual, by simple inspection, we get the speed of longitudinal formula as follows. Once you look at this, as I said, the speed depends on it depends on elastic property, directly related to elastic property and inversely proportional to inertial property. So if I will rearrange by taking V by rho, because V proportional to B means inversely proportional to rho means what? It's proportional to B and inversely proportional to rho. So if I take B value, rho value, if I substitute the dimensional formula of B and ml to the power of -1, Q to the power of -2, by ml to the power of -3, on simplification, you get L square Q to the power of -2, that is LT to the power of -1 whole square. What is LT to the power of -1? Is dimensional equals to speed. Therefore, it is equals to V square and V square equals to B by rho. And V equals to, as I said, while deriving the expressions dimensionally, we have to take the proportionality constant. This value is to be substituted by experimental investigation. As I mentioned in transverse wave, even here also this proportionality constant is proved as 1. So if C equals to C is a constant. If it is 1, then we get the speed of a longitudinal wave, the speed of a sound is equals to square root of the ratio of square root of bulk modulus to the density. That is V equals to under root V by rho. That is, in words, we can mention like this. The speed of a longitudinal wave is equals to square root of modulus of elasticity by density. Why modulus of elasticity or bulk modulus is taken into account? Once you recall, during the propagation of longitudinal wave, the longitudinal wave propagates by forming compressions and rarefactions. To form a compression, the particles of the medium are to be packed up. Now, this packing of molecules tries to move close to each other to a particular region. This is what compressional region due to and fro motion of the vibrating body. Here I've taken a piston. Therefore, in compressional region, generally what happens due to compression, a compressional stress is to be developed. What is compressional stress? The force, compressional force per unit area. In turn, it is expressed as change in pressure, variation in pressure. As already I mentioned, in compressional region, the pressure increases. In rarefaction region, the pressure decreases. It means the propagation of a sound or the propagation of a longitudinal wave through air is related to variation of pressure, and the variation of pressure is related to bulk modulus. That's why the bulk modulus, the elastic constant bulk modulus is taken into account, taken into consideration to describe or to express the speed of longitudinal wave. Now let us see. See, while dealing with different media and regarding elastic property, we have studied the elastic nature of different media like elastic nature of solids, elastic nature of liquids, and elastic nature of gases is to be expressed in different elastic constants. Suppose if a longitudinal wave, for example, sound is propagating through solid-like medium. Generally, in case of solids, Young's modulus is taken into consideration to describe the elastic nature. That is, in solids, the relevant modulus of elasticity is Young's modulus of elasticity. Therefore, in case of solids, the velocity of longitudinal wave is given by. So, modulus of elasticity is to be replaced by Young's modulus. So, we get simply V is equal to under root Y by rho. As usual, V is speed of the sound. Y is the Young's modulus of that medium. Means if the sound is propagating through steel, we have to take the Young's modulus of steel. If it is propagating through any other solid medium, then we have to take the Young's modulus of that solid medium, and density of the same medium we have to take. Remember, students, here Y and rho are the Young's modulus and density of the medium through which the sound or a longitudinal wave is propagating. Now, while dealing with liquids, generally, Young's modulus is related to a linear. Young's modulus. What is Young's modulus? A linear stress by linear strain. Linear stress is defined only for solids which can be taken in the form of strings and rods. Can we take a linear stress in terms of liquids? No. And already we learned to describe the elastic nature of liquids, we take bulk modulus into consideration. So instead of Young's modulus, we take here bulk modulus of a liquid. So therefore, by taking bulk modulus as modulus of elasticity to describe the elastic property, we would express the expression for speed of longitudinal wave or speed of sound in liquids as V equals to under root K by rho, where K is bulk modulus of that liquid and rho is density of that liquid through which the sound is propagating. That is, if you want to determine the speed of sound in water, then we have to take the bulk modulus of water and density of water into consideration. Remember, in solids, we take Young's modulus to describe the elastic nature. In liquids, we take bulk modulus to describe the elastic nature. But when it comes to the gaseous medium, here comes the problem. The bulk modulus of a gases can be expressed in two ways, because when the sound is propagating through air, the changes in pressure and volume may take place in different manner. We have studied in first year thermodynamics. Thermodynamic process like isothermal process and adiabatic process. Okay. Once you recall, okay. Sorry, small network problem. Now let's come back. How to determine the speed of longitudinal wave in a gaseous medium? As I mentioned, when sound is propagating through gaseous medium, we have to consider how the pressure and volume are changing. So simply here, in order to determine the speed of sound, speed of longitudinal wave in gases, Newton suggested an assumption which is given as Newton's formula. See, to determine the speed of sound in gases, Newton first suggested, assuming when sound is propagating through gas, the changes in pressure and volume are isothermal. What he assumed, when sound is propagating through air, the gaseous medium, the temperature of the medium may remain constant. As the temperature of the medium remains constant, so it may be an isothermal change. So that is, Newton assumed that when sound propagates through gaseous medium, the changes in pressure and volume are isothermal. So assuming that way, he tried to express the bulk modulus value in isothermal process. In first step, I have studied if the temperature is constant, Boyle's law is valid. According to Boyle's law, pressure is inversely proportional to volume, and mathematically it can be expressed as PV equals to constant. And in isothermal compression, here in a compressional region where the pressure increases, right? So to describe the variation of pressure and volume, he has taken a differential form. This you learned in first year. While deriving Cp minus Cv equals to R, let's take the differential form of PV equals to constant. MPC children, you can understand it easily. So on differentiating this, what is the differential form of PV equals to constant? P delta V plus P delta P equals to 0. And on rearranging the term, P delta V equals to minus V delta P, from which you get delta P value equals to minus P delta V by V, and P equals to minus delta P by delta V by V. Why rearranged these things? Because to get the bulk modulus value, we know bulk modulus is given by bulk stress, that is delta P by bulk strain delta V by V. Here, negative sign indicates on increasing pressure, the volume decreases. The same is given by Boyle's law. Therefore, if the pressure is increasing, like in compressional region, volume decreases, so the region occupies less volume. And in rarefaction region, pressure decreases and it rarefies, it spreads into the medium, so that volume increases. This negative sign, the significance of negative sign is on increasing pressure, the volume decreases. That's the reason while deriving the bulk modulus, while defining the bulk modulus, we have to take minus of delta P, which is referred to bulk stress, and delta V by V related to bulk strain. Bulk stress by bulk strain is equals to bulk modulus. So the RHS here, this we got by simplifying this PV equals to constant, from which the value of minus delta P, bulk stress by bulk strain equals to P. But usually bulk stress is given by B. Therefore, if I equate these two, in place of bulk modulus, we get pressure P, static pressure P. So in isothermal process, this would have studied even in first year also. In isothermal process, the bulk modulus of the medium can be taken as pressure. That is, pressure itself is taken as bulk modulus of the medium. That's why the static pressure here, which I took, is also called isothermal bulk modulus. So By taking the pressure as bulk modulus, we can express the speed of the sound in a gaseous medium, which is equals to under root p by rho. So instead of in solids, it is taken as Young's modulus. In liquids, it is taken as bulk modulus K. In gases, the pressure which is related to bulk modulus is taken as modulus of elasticity or bulk modulus value, P by rho. This is suggested by Newton, but this which is not correct. Where P is the pressure, rho is the density. The expression given by the Newton is not correct, which is incorrect. Why? Because if we try to calculate the value, the speed of sound in air at STP 13 and 10 to the power of 5 Pascal, and density of the air value, pressure and value of density at STP on simplification, unstable and essentially internet connection, we get the value equals to 280 meter per second. Students, you refer a solved example in your academic textbook. This is given as a solved example. Please refer the textbook, second year textbook, academic textbook or insert textbook. You will find this simplification in your academic textbook. But experimentally, it is proved the speed of sound in air is 330 meter per second. By several experimental means, it is proved as 330 meter per second, which is slightly greater than the value obtained by Newton's formula, or else the Newton's formula gives slightly less than the actual value. It means something is lagging, in this formula, some correction is to be made. So for that, Laplace, another scientist, Laplace worked, and he corrected this formula suggested by Newton. See what Newton assumed: when sound is propagating through air, the changes are isothermal. But Laplace assumed that when sound propagates through gaseous medium, the change in pressure and volume are adiabatic. Why? Because when sound is propagating through air, compressions and rarefactions forms suddenly. All sudden changes are adiabatic changes. Even sometime at compressional region, the temperature may increase slightly. So the temperature may not be constant. Assuming the propagation of sound through air as adiabatic change, he determined the value of bulk modulus again. Once you look at here, at compression, the pressure increases so that the pressure, temperature may increase slightly. So what I mean to say, what Laplace assumed, when sound is propagating through air or any gaseous medium, the changes are adiabatic but not isothermal, because temperature of the medium may change slightly. So in first year thermodynamics would have studied what is the relation between pressure and volume in adiabatic process. PV to the power of gamma equals to constant. So by differentiating this, what is gamma here? The ratio of two specific heats, Cp by Cv. Cp is the molar specific heat at constant pressure, and Cv is the molar specific heat at constant volume. So let me give all possible steps on differentiating this step by step. So mathematics students, MPC children, you can understand how it is to be differentiated. P gamma v to the power of, because x to the power of n, n into x to the power of n minus 1. So P gamma v into gamma minus 1 delta v plus v gamma delta p equals to 0. And gamma p v to the power of gamma minus 1 into delta v equals to minus v to the power of gamma delta p, bringing the term to other side, and gamma p delta v equals to minus v delta p, and gamma p equals to minus delta p into v by delta v. And on rearrange the terms, we need actually the value of bulk stress by bulk strain. Here you focus it. The simplification is not so important. For my satisfaction, to make the work convenient, I have given this. Please, MPC children, as you can understand, you take the screenshot or snapshot and you can understand by doing it, by solving it step by step. And finally, we need the ratio of bulk stress to the bulk strain. What is the ratio of bulk stress here? Delta P. Bulk strain is delta V by V. So on rearranging the terms, what I did here, by taking the relation in adiabatic process between pressure and volume, that is differentiated and rearranged to get the value of bulk stress. So in place of bulk stress, as bulk modulus equals to bulk stress by bulk strain. So to get the bulk modulus value, the terms are rearranged and finally it is proven as bulk stress B equals to gamma P. This is also called adiabatic bulk modulus. So in isothermal process, what is the bulk modulus value? Just static pressure. Here the bulk modulus value is gamma P, where gamma is the ratio of two specific heats, P by CO, Cp, which depends on the nature of the gas. Now, from which the speed of sound, now it is given by V equals to under root gamma P by rho. This is the correct formula because by taking gamma of air, for all practical purposes, the air is taken as diatomic in nature because nitrogen is more abundant. So by taking gamma value as 1.4, if I insert this 1.4 under root is nearly 1.2 and multiply 1.2 is 280. And on simplification, at STP, the speed of sound at STP from this formula is obtained as 331 meter per second, which is exactly matching with the experimental value. This value of speed of sound matches with experimental value. What is the experimental value obtained? 330. What is the value obtained from the Newton's formula? 280. That's why it is taken as incorrect. As this correction is made by Laplace, this formula V equals to under root gamma P by rho to determine the speed of sound in gases is also popularly known as Newton-Laplace formula. Therefore, V equals to under root gamma P by rho is called Newton-Laplace formula. Students, remember to derive it directly. So what work is done, what background work is done to determine the speed of sound in a gaseous medium, we have given in detail regarding Newton's formula as a Newton's Laplace formula. But you try to remember V is equal to gamma P by rho, which is correct, and only this formula is used to determine the speed of sound in any gaseous medium. What is gamma? What is gamma? The ratio of two specific heats is called adiabatic index. P is the pressure of the medium and rho is the density of the medium. Now, here I am showing the speed of sound in some different media, like in gases, liquids, solids, how the sound propagates with which speeds. Generally in gases, like when sound is propagating through at 0 degrees Celsius, that is what 331, and at 20 degrees 343, that is on increasing temperature, the speed of sound also increases. Next slide we shall discuss once you refer it. This tabular form you will also find in your academic textbook. Once you refer the academic textbook and compare how the speed of sound is in gaseous medium, liquids medium, solids medium. In gases, the speed of sound is less. In liquids, it is more. In solids, it is very high. It means sound travels faster in solids than in liquids than in gases. But there is an exception. In nitrogen, the speed of sound is given as 1284. In hydrogen, sound travels faster because of its very, very least value of density, because of low density. We know speed is inversely proportional to density. The speed is more. Now, what are the factors affecting the speed of sound in gaseous medium? Students, let me take 5 more minutes so that this topic is to be completed in a complete manner, full-fledged manner, so that you will not feel any gap in between, so that you can understand in a single stretch. See, only one factor I'm going to describe here, that is the temperature. Now let's recall ideal gas equation. PV is equal to nRT, and volume is, if I'll replace volume with mass by density and number of molecules with mass by capital M, and on simplification, you get in place of P by rho, cancelling M and M, in place of P by rho, we get RT by M. What is the speed of sound in gaseous medium? Under root gamma P by rho. So if I replace P by rho value with RT by M, you get V equals to gamma under root gamma RT by M. Now, for a given medium, the molecular weight, capital M stands for molecular weight, and gamma, the adiabatic index, these two remain same. Already capital R is universal gas constant, so only variable quantity is temperature, absolute temperature. So the speed of sound in any gaseous medium is directly proportional to the square root of absolute temperature. That is, on increasing the temperature, when the temperature of the medium is increasing, the speed of sound also increases. That's why the speed of sound in summer is more than speed of sound in winter. Right? Sound travels faster in summer than in winter because speed of sound depends on temperature. And more clearly, to determine the speed of sound at any other temperature, I'm replacing, as you know, V proportional to square root of absolute temperature, and V1 by Vt is equal square root of T1 by T2. If I'll take the speed of sound at T degrees Celsius and the speed of sound at 0 degrees Celsius as Vt and V0, and on substituting the value of absolute temperature on degrees Celsius T plus 273, you know, where T is the temperature on Celsius scale, and 0 plus 273, and it is 273. So you get this expression, right? So by using this, we can determine the speed of sound at any temperature. It is the speed of sound at a given temperature. V0 is the speed of sound at 0 degree Celsius. On simplification, we get Vt is equal to V0 plus T by 546. By using binomial expression, we get it. So remember this expression. If you know the speed of sound at 0 degrees Celsius, which is 330 meter per second, then speed of sound at any other temperature can be determined using this expression. Try to solve one or two problems based on this. Now, not only temperature, there are several other factors which may influence the speed of sound. And one more factor is pressure. Generally, at a given temperature, the speed of sound is independent of changes in pressure. Why? Because on increasing the pressure of the medium, density of the medium also increases. But the ratio of P to rho, P by rho remains constant. Right? Right? Is it okay? Now, P by rho is taken as, now just now in previous slide, we described as RT by M. Therefore, even as P by rho is equal to RT by M, as a given temperature, temperature remains same. For a given medium, capital M and same, and R is anyhow constant. Therefore, at a given temperature, the speed of sound is independent of changes in pressure. That is, whether the pressure of the medium is increasing or decreasing, the speed of the sound doesn't change. Even if you increase the pressure of the medium, the sound travels with the same speed. So now let's see, as already I've shown a tabular form in which you found the sound travels faster in solids than in liquids than in gases. This is just because generally the Young's modulus on which the speed of sound depends is Young's modulus of solids is very much greater than, these are in the order of 10 to the power of 10, is very much greater than bulk modulus values of liquids, which is greater than bulk modulus of gases like pressure or gamma P value. Therefore, speed of sound in solids is greater than speed of sound in liquids is greater than speed of sound in gases. This is the way how sound travels faster through solids than in liquids than in gases. This is the content which I would like to describe from today's session. It's a bit lengthy, but my idea is to describe to complete in single stretch. Now let me revise. Let me see what have we learned in this session. Let me give all the formulas which we all learned in this session. The speed of traveling wave is given by V is equal to omega by k or lambda by t are equals to n lambda. These are all wave parameters and theoretical parameters. Practically, the speed of transverse wave on a stretched string is given by under root E by mu, and speed of longitudinal wave generally it is given by under root B by rho, where B is bulk modulus or modulus of velocity, rho is the density of the medium. When it comes to solids, it is given by Young's modulus by density. When it comes to liquids, it is given by bulk modulus by density. When it comes to gases, what is the correct formula? Newton Laplace formula. It is given by under root gamma p by rho. Please, students, you take the screenshot or snapshot. Even after the session, by visiting once again, you can take the screenshot. Students, on small request, once again, you go through the earlier sessions, because all earlier sessions related to wave motion are already uploaded. Better once you go through the session 1, lecture 2 once again, so that you will get a very clear idea. You'll not confuse even in forthcoming sessions. Like once again, you revise all the basics related to wave motion taught in first session, and parameters taught in second session and third session in detail. And this session, one of the parameter dealt in detail, that is speed of sound in gaseous medium. And for this academic year, I hope this topic may become very, very important for all the examinations, because, okay, because this topic of speed of sound, speed of progressive wave may carry more weightage. Why? I'll give the details in coming sessions after a particular confirmation. Next, let us check ourselves what we have to learn from this session. These are all related to intermediate public examination. Obtain an expression for wave velocity in terms of parameters of the wave, like how you get V is equal to omega by k or lambda by t or n lambda. Just try to derive in a simple manner, and using the dimensional analysis, obtain the expression for speed of transverse wave on a stretched string. It is only by dimensional analysis we have to derive, because our work is confined to only dimensional analysis, which is given, which is framed in syllabus in view of all the biology students. And similarly, using dimensional analysis, obtain an expression for the speed of sound wave in a medium. And let's try to solve a simple problem. This you can do it easily. A string has a length 0.4 meter and mass 0.16 kg. If the tension in the string is 10 Newton, find the speed of transverse wave. Your tension is given directly. If not, you have to calculate the tension by using mg formula. And instead of linear density, given the mass and length, so from which you get the linear density, and you try what is the formula for speed of transverse wave, students? V is equal to under root T by mu, where mu is linear density, and try to solve it and post the answer in live chat. Itself you can do it. You can post the answer here itself now. A very simple problem I have given. You try to post the answer in the live chat itself. Thank you, students, and thank you one and all. If you have any doubts, then I'll go through your doubts from today's session.
For a wonderful session on speed of wave. There was a doubt expressed by one student, what is meant by propagation? Could you please clear that, sir?
Is it a propagation constant or only propagation?
They just mentioned only propagation, sir. What is meant by propagation?
Propagation, just moving. So when a wave is propagating, traveling, these are the technical terms. Instead of stating a wave is traveling, a wave is propagating. Generally, traveling means, why this propagating or propagation term we use? Generally, you think it's a very good doubt. Traveling, I am traveling in a bus. I'm traveling in a car because I'm taking the support of some vehicle, something. But when wave is propagating, of course, it is taking the medium as a whole, so it is spreading. So it is not require any support and all. Therefore, generally, this term propagation is used in place of traveling when it is require any support for its journey or for its travel. And here, the propagation constant also. The constant during this propagation in a particular medium. So, for a given wave, so the ratio of by 2 by lambda is taken as propagation constant. So for a given medium, this term, wavelength term, remains same if it is not damping. So therefore, this constant is taken into this two, the ratio 2 by lambda is taken as constant, and it is named as propagation constant. In last session, it is cleared how k is equal to 2 by lambda and why it is taken as constant. Propagation means simply traveling or spreading into the medium. Wave propagates into the medium, or wave propagates into the space, means it's moving or spreading or traveling. Yes. Anybody posted the answer for this problem?
No, sir.
So posted, then I'll be so happy because they're quite.
There isn't any answer posted, sir.
Thank you. Try
much,
this.
sir.
Give 10 seconds time because very simple under root t by mu. Just take it and do it. Madam, any other doubt?
Solve it, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Vasu Garu, for a wonderful session on waves. Hope the children have got benefited out of it. Students, you can revisit the same slides if you have missed out any. And tomorrow and day after, that is Saturday and Sunday, we do not have any sessions. On Monday, instead of 10:30, the sessions will begin at 10 a.m. So see you on Monday at 10 a.m. Thank you, everyone. Namaskar.